Well, good day, all parents, carers, and teachers. The next puzzle I want to show you is the left-right basics. Now, this one actually is an introduction to the left-right letters, which, of course, I will show you next. Now, this one teaches a child left from right and also where the different letters start. You know, when a child starts school, they start learning to write. And it's very important that a child gets the starting point of a letter correctly, because a B starts on the left-hand side and it curves to the right. On the other hand, a D starts on the right-hand side and it curves to the left. It starts with a curve, of course, and then it makes a straight line. So it's very important that he doesn't get that confused, because he cannot get his B's and his D's confused. It's going to be a problem for him reading and writing for the rest of his life. So that confusion's got to be sorted out very early. Now, when you look at the puzzle, there's the doll in the middle, which I'll explain to you just now. Lined up with the doll's head are letters with long necks. Lined up with the doll's bottom are letters with long tails. And then in between, lined up between her neck and her tail, are letters that do not have long necks or long tails. But let's start with the doll. Now, you know, when the child, let's call the child Annie, when she looks in the same direction that mommy does, of course, her left side, which we call it blue because it's easy to remember, blue for left, and her right side is colored red. It's easy to remember, red for right. Her left side is on your left side and her right side is on your right side. But when she turns around, the whole picture changes, because now her red side is on your left side. Her right side is on your left side. Her blue side or left side is on your right side. And that causes great confusion, you know. I think sometimes children think, can these adults not make up their minds? So let me show you. If a child just uses the doll, okay, he or she plays with it, they get used to the right side being red and the left side being blue. Also in front, they just play with the doll. They make it paper clothes. It talks to its other toys, the child's other toys, etc. And they get used to the red side, changing positions. You can see the right arm is also lifted up in a perpetual greeting. That is to mark the red side forevermore. So the child plays with the doll and he or she gets used to the fact that the red side or the right side changes position. And one day when mommy asks Sunny, now tell me, my child, why is your right side now on my left side? She'll probably look at you thinking, my goodness, Mom, don't you understand? You've turned around. And that is not going to be a problem for the child ever in her or his life. Okay, so let's see how it relates to the letters. As I mentioned, all the letters lining up with the doll's neck are letters with long necks. All the letters that line up with the doll's bottom are letters with long tails. In between are letters without necks or tails. All the letters that are on the left side of the doll are blue and have their starting points on the blue side or the left side. All the letters that lined up with the doll's red side or right side are red, and they have their starting points on the right side. Now, what's very, very interesting, parents, carers, and teachers, all the letters that start on the left side, and I mean every single one of them, start with a straight line. The ones with the long necks, a long straight line. The starting points are always marked. A long straight line, straight down. All the letters with long tails start with a straight line, right down, and then it curves to the right-hand side. All the letters without necks or tails start in a straight line in one of these three positions, in one of these three directions. Of course, the ones with the long necks are represented with a blue giraffe, which has got a long neck. All the letters that start on the left-hand side with long tails are represented by a peacock with a long, beautiful tail, a blue peacock. And of course, the letters without necks or tails are represented by three worms that represent the different directions. that the pen goes, or the pencil goes when you start the letter. Then all the letters on the right hand side have their starting points on the right hand side, and all of them, parents, carers and teachers, except one, all of them except one, start with a curve. And you can see the puzzle pieces are curved in order to show the child the curve. The one letter that is the exception to this rule is the J. The J starts on the right hand side with a straight line and it curves to the left. That is the only exception to this rule. Okay, so let's have a look. Then there are letters like L and I that do not have a left side or a right side, and the starting point, they have the starting point and they just go down in a straight line, and so with I. Okay, so now I want to empty the entire puzzle to show you what happens when the child builds the puzzle. So, parents, carers and teachers, there's the puzzle without the pieces, except of course with a doll in the middle, which I would like to keep there because she's going to help us to sort the left from right. Okay, so let's start first of all with the letters with the long necks. The one that should fit here would be a letter or a picture or an animal with a long neck, and it's got to be blue because it starts on the blue side or the left side. Let's see. A long neck, there we go, and it's got to be blue. That means the blue giraffe. Let's see if it fits. That's correct. Reversely, the letters on the right side are red, and this one's got a long neck. So it's got to be a picture or an animal with a long neck, and it's got to be colored red. The giraffe, the red giraffe, should fit there. Let's try it. That's it. Great. Then the letters with the long tails. The one that should fit there, it lines up with her bottom, so it's got to have a long tail, and it has to be blue. So let's see. The peacocks. It should be the blue peacock. Let's try it. And that's correct. And then reversely, the one on the red side or the right hand side, also a long tail, and it's got to be red. So that must be the red peacock. And that's quite correct. Then the letters, once again, that start on the left side or the blue side. The representation is colored blue. These ones in between with her neck and her bottom do not have any necks or tails, so it's got to be a picture or a representation that is blue. Okay, so the only ones that remain are those two. So that's the blue one, so let's see if that fits there. And that's correct, it fits. And then on the right side or the red side should be an animal without a neck or a tail. It should be short, it should be red. There we go, let's try that. There we go, and that fits. Okay, so now these red and blue representations once again emphasizes, the blue ones emphasize that the letter starts on the blue side or the left side. The red one emphasize or illustrate that the specific letters starting on the red side or the right side all start with a curve, and you can see the piece shows the curve as well to make it easier for the child. Okay, so let's start with the left hand side. The long necks, they all start with a straight line. So let's see, this one should be a straight line. The starting points are marked, so let's see. It must be one of these. Shall we try this one to see? Great, let's fit that. Yes, it fits. Okay, then the one in between, the representation actually gives you the picture of the piece that fits there, which is straight lines in these three directions. So let's see which one should fit there. Should be that one, isn't it? Let's try it. There we go, that's correct. And then again on the left side, all letters that start on the blue side or the left side start with a straight line, and the starting point is marked, and this once again is a straight line. So let's see what would fit in there. Let's try that one. And that is quite correct. Now then, in between, these letters do not have right sides or left sides. They're just in the middle, and they are straight lines. So let's try that one for the L. And that fits, that's correct. And then that means that one should fit there. Let's try that. And that works. Now the interesting thing is, parents, carers and teachers, when I talk about myself, when anybody talks about him or herself, they say, I did this or I did that. Now the interesting is the I falls on the doll's body. Isn't that fascinating? Okay, so all the letters that start on the right side or the red side start with a curve. So they must be, the pieces that fit in here should be these. Of course, as I say, there's an exception to this rule, and the exception is the letter J, which starts on the right hand side with a straight line and a curve to the left. That's the only exception. Okay, so let's see which pieces will fit in here. It's got to be starting on with a curve, and the starting point, in other words, must be on the right side, so it must be there. Okay, these are the only pieces that are left over, so they must be fitting there. Let's try the top one. And that's quite correct. Let's try the next one. Let's see if that one will fit. And that is quite correct. The next one without a neck or a tail, let's see if that one will fit. That's correct because it's a curve. And lastly, let's see if that one is going to fit. Of course it will. And there, parents, carers and teachers, the child is now associating all the starting points of the letters on the left side or the blue side with these straight lines, and is associating the letters that start on the right side or the red side with a curve. So in other words, if he wants to make a D and he knows the letter should start on the right side, or he knows the letter starts with a curve, he would know to start it on the right side and make it that way. And on the other hand, if he knows a B starts on the blue side or the left side, then he knows it starts with a straight line, so it cannot start with a curve. So when it starts with a straight line, it goes straight down, and then it has to curve to the right hand side, etc. Once again, parents, carers and teachers, this particular puzzle is an introduction to the left-right letters, which I will show you next.